It's the one question that kind of quietly follows all of us around. We all think about it. Not what happens, at the very, very end of everything, but in that quiet moment, that interval right after we take our last breath.
So yeah, let's just dive right into that. In that first instant, where do we go? Well, what we're going to explore today is a really specific picture drawn from these ancient texts that has given an incredible amount of hope to millions and millions of people for centuries.
I think we all have our own ideas about this, right? We kind of picture our loved ones in some deep, peaceful sleep. Or maybe they're just waiting somewhere. Or maybe, just maybe, they're already home. These are the big possibilities we all wrestle with. Okay, so to really get a handle on the biblical answer, we kind of have to travel back in time, into the world of the scriptures. For them, death was never, ever just the end. It was always a doorway into an unseen, but very, very real world. Now, the earliest understanding was this place called Sheol. You can think of it like a shadowed, quiet realm, a place of stillness, where everyone who had passed on was gathered, separated from the life they knew. But that idea didn't just stay put. It actually grew and became a lot clearer over time. So, fast forward to the first century, and this whole idea has gotten much more specific. The unseen world wasn't just one big gray area anymore. It was understood to have two totally different regions, for two totally different destinies. And Jesus himself talked about this, directly and in vivid detail. In fact, Jesus tells this incredible story where he basically pulls back the curtain and shows us what's going on. It's about two men, a poor, faithful guy named Lazarus, and another man who is very rich. They both die, they both go to this place of the dead, but what happens to them next couldn't be more different.
And here's what he describes: two completely different realities. Lazarus, the poor man, is taken to what's called Abraham's bosom, a place of comfort, of honor, of rest. The rich man, though, finds himself in a place of torment, of painful distance. And get this isn't heaven and hell, the final judgment. This is their immediate experience in that quiet interval.
And then Jesus adds this really sobering detail. Between these two places, there's a huge chasm, a gap, and it's fixed. You can't cross it. It really underscores how serious our lives, our choices are before we walk through that door of death.
So that whole story is really about separation, and that idea of separation, not just between two people, but the much deeper separation between us and God, is really the key to this whole thing. And that brings us to the absolute turning point in the entire story: the cross.
Okay, so picture this scene. As Jesus is on the cross, one of the criminals next to him, in his very last moments, turns and makes this unbelievably honest plea. He doesn't ask to be saved from dying. He asks to be remembered after he dies. Remember me. And Jesus' reply starts with a single word that just shatters every idea of a long, dark wait. He doesn't say one day or in the future. He says today. And then he reveals the real heart of the promise. And notice this. He doesn't promise a place. He promises a person. The destination isn't a what, it's a who. It's all about relationship, about presence. You will be with me. And finally, he gives this experience a name: paradise. I mean, in that one single conversation, the entire hope for what happens after we die is completely redefined. It's immediate, it's conscious, and it's all about being with Christ himself. And this wasn't just a one-off moment. This radical new hope, this promise of immediate presence, it became the absolute bedrock of what the apostles taught as they went out to explain what Jesus' life and death really meant. The apostle Paul just lays it out plain and simple. It's almost like a math equation. For someone who believes, being absent from this body equals being present with the Lord. There's no gap, no long nap, no delay. It's instant. And he even takes it a step further. He says this moment of departing, of dying, isn't something to dread. He says it's far better. Far better. And why? Because it's the moment we finally get to be with Christ in a way that's complete and totally uninterrupted. Okay, so let's tie all of this together. What does this whole picture actually mean for you and me right now? Because this is way more than just old theology. It changes everything about how we can face life and how we can face death. So here's the bottom line, the big shift that happened. Before Christ, the faithful who died were resting, waiting for their hope.
But after Christ, the promise became something new, something radically immediate. Believers go directly into a conscious, living relationship with Jesus. And if you take away just one thing from all this, I hope it's this. The hope of what comes next isn't really about a place, not about pearly gates or golden streets. The absolute heart of it all is a person. It's Jesus.
And this is why it matters so much. If your life is connected to His, then death isn't a period at the end of your story. It's not a disruption to that relationship at all. Instead, it's the moment that relationship becomes everything it was meant to be, deeper, clearer, and more real than ever before.
Which kind of brings this whole thing down to one simple, personal question for all of us. When that moment comes, what will it open up into? Will it be that promised presence or that sad distance? And look, that's not a question meant to scare you. It's an invitation to belong, an invitation into a relationship so strong that not even death can break it.